Hello! The courageous one who made it in the rain. That's something. I was really worried that nobody was going to show up tonight. Okay, welcome. Please grab a seat. Okay, so I'm Essie. I'm the founder of Products That Count. And we're doing this speaker series every month. How many of you have been here before? All right. About half. That's the usual ratio. And how many of you got a little card like this tonight? That's it? Who didn't get one? Like, if you didn't get one, okay. If you didn't get one, you need one, because that card in the back has your membership. It's your Member That Count card. And what it gives you is access to our holiday party. It's 20% to all of our events. The reason we do that, by the way, this Products That Count is a nonprofit organization. This is really purely for building community. The reason we have a membership card is because we started noticing about 14, 15 months ago that a lot of people come every month. And then we said, that's awesome. We love it. So we made people who come often Members That Count. Anyways, tonight, it's our holiday party. It's kind of a crazy holiday party because of the weather. And so lots of stuff went wrong. Our presentation crashed. The photo booth wouldn't start. A lot of people were late. A lot of people couldn't make it. So it's a very special evening. But it means that 2017 is going to be an awesome year. Woohoo! A couple of things. First, I want to thank Yelp. Yelp has been our host from day one in San Francisco. They're awesome. They're providing the space. They're providing the pizza. They're providing the video. They're providing lots of awesome stuff. Thank you very much. I also want to tell you that they are recruiting, and not just product people. They're also recruiting engineers. And thank you guys, and happy holidays. Tonight we have a bit of a special format. Usually we do just one talk. Tonight we have 3 talks because it's our holiday party. And as they unfold, I'll tell you why. I invited 2 of my favorite people, Sean and John, who are right here. But I'm going to start by talking myself about some stuff that I care about. And that's Products That Count. So why is Products That Count called Products That Count? Because Products That Count has 2 meanings. One is it counts because it's big, right? It's like big in numbers. And it counts because it's meaningful, i.e. it transforms people's lives. And when, that name, came up, I really loved it. And I didn't quite realize how much it's important for me, to build products that count because they are big and because they matter. And in fact, I still don't exactly know what makes a product that counts. And so that's why I'm inviting all these, thought leaders and visionaries and experts to help me define what it is, that's a product that counts. And, earlier this year, I wrote a book. You guys all have a copy? Thank you. It's been the product of 12 years of my life building products that, some of them count. And yes. And it's done well. We sold 10,000 copies this year. All the profits are going to charity. And really, the process of writing this book got me to ask myself that question a lot. I'm going to write a book about how to build great mobile products. So mobile products that count. So what's a product that really counts? And, the first thing that, I thought of is, there's an art and a science, right? A product that counts, there's the science of you make it big, you grow it, you think about growth hacking. And so we have a lot of speakers that come here and do growth hacking, best practice sharing. And then the other side of it is you have products that are meaningful, that really change people's life in many ways. whether it's a messaging product, whether it's a cause or something else. But you have the art of building products that count. And initially I thought, oh, that's it. Like there's the art and the science of products that counts. And I started to interview a bunch of, product execs and asking like, why do you build what you build? And how do you know what to build next and so on? And then I realized there was a missing piece to the art and science. And the missing piece is, on mobile, what I call the essence of mobility. And when I think about what makes a product essentially mobile, there are really two components. The first component is it uses your real identity. And that's unlike any product before. If you go back to the Mad Men era, you had sort of, personas and possibly they were walking by the advertisement at the right time and possibly they were then triggered by some creative to buy your product, and the creative might have nothing to do with, the actual product. And then real identity still wasn't, there in the era of Google and the internet because it was all about avatars, right? So you were hiding yourself behind like some form of, fake identity. But with mobile, like your phone has, information and often more information about yourself than you have about yourself, right? It knows your health data. It knows where you are. It knows the phone number of your friends. Like who knows the phone number of their friends today? I don't either. And it knows a lot more than this. Anyway, so the real identity is one of the key elements of what, makes a successful mobile product, like using that successfully. And then the other part is also that it uses your context. And that's super important because context being your location, calendar, time, and so on. And that's super important because when you use a mobile product, you're right here, looking at your phone or looking at your watch or looking through your glasses. Doesn't matter what is the vehicle, right? What the hardware is. But all it takes to distract you is, a photographer right here, a light right there, somebody standing up right here. All you have to do is this. And so context really matters a lot because then it means that when you build a product that count, you want to be able to use that context, but then get people to really focus. And how do you do that, right? In a world where you have these constant distractions. And so, after sort of refining the art and science, the essence of mobility, there was something that was, really, I think, essential to every mobile product. And that in Silicon Valley, we sort of disregard, but at the same time, we really seek. And I'm going to call that beauty. And beauty is a form of, is a very kind of whimsical form of efficiency, right? Sometimes it's very efficient as in like it helps me focus. And sometimes it's completely whimsical as it wows me. Like it's just gorgeous, beautiful. And that component, it's a part that I talk a lot about in my book. It was one part where I discovered a lot of great stuff. I feel like, beauty has been a huge topic throughout history with mathematicians like Pythagoras and with authors like Leo Tolstoy, with a bunch of like, a ton of people are trying to define what is beauty, like how do you capture this in people? And technology, we try to do this as well in lots of different ways. But beauty, I think, is really an essential, like, human component. And all of a sudden, I see beauty. I'm like, beauty, human, emotion, transformation. And I'm an engineer, so I'm looking at the facts. I'm like, okay, so what's the natural consequence? And then, with the framework that I came up with to describe what makes a great mobile product or a mobile product that counts is the mind, body, spirit framework. I said, mobile products have become extensions of ourselves. And so when we think of the best product, we have to think of our best selves. And then I use mind, body, spirit framework to describe what that means. And if you think about, your mind first, we all want to learn. We all want to grow. That's why we're here. That's why we're, listening to great speakers. That's why we're reading. That's why we work in technology and innovation. We expect the same thing from our mobile product, that they are going to learn and grow with us. The second thing is spirit. We all want a meaningful life. That's the, maybe the art part of great product. We all want to have meaning in our lives. And that means that we want our mobile product to give us meaning, to be very personalized. And then the third thing is back to that element of beauty. We all want to look good. We all want to, we all seek beauty one way or another, whether it's through efficiency or whether it's through like a wow. And we expect that our mobile product are also going to, follow that rule. And that's a lot of what I talk about in my book. If you want, I can sign it for you at the end. But I hope you read it. I hope you like it. And with that, I think I'm just going to hand it over to Sean. So Sean, I'll introduce him. Sean and I were at Stanford Business School together. And when we graduated, he went straight into venture capital. And he then became an investor in Uber. And I'm sure he's going to talk about like what he saw, what, most people didn't see at the time. And then he went and decided that he was going to become an entrepreneur and start a company, called Handle. And I'm sure he'll tell you the lessons that he learned from, going through the bright side, I'm going to say. And then he now is back in VC. And I think what you and I talked about, like, how do you craft a product that counts from that kind of essential sentence, right? And that's what you're going to talk about. All right. It's great to have you. Welcome.
Thank you. The talk tonight is on clarity of purpose. And, my name's Sean Carolyn. I'm a managing director with Menlo Ventures. I run our consumer practice. And, product people are my favorite people in the whole world. Because you have to do so much and understand the customer and what's possible technically and manage people that you don't actually control, et cetera. So it's a real honor to be here. So Charlotte, I'm so impressed with the group of people you bring every day. So thank you so much for having me. Just a really quick brief background on myself. That's all right. I can be here. So I'm also technical by background. This is the first computer I programmed on, the Apple IIc Basic. 10 print. Sean is awesome. 20 go to 10. If anybody's ever done that. Open port technology was my first job out of college. I went to Illinois, grew up in the Midwest, studied electrical engineering, computer science, and joined a startup in Chicago, which is not advisable. It went bankrupt, but fortunately I had applied to Stanford. I was the last person let in. Sophie Charlotte was probably the first, but they called me in June and they said, hey, we got one more spot. So I went with my entrance essay being to be a business savvy chief technology officer, which of course I did not do. I went to Menlo Ventures in 2002 and turned out I was pretty good at it. So, it was an enterprise oriented firm. I ended up doing a bunch of consumer stuff. So first investor in Siri. We did the B round at Uber, first investor in Roku outside, PlaySpan, total of 4 M&A, 2 IPO, 3 still in the hopper. We'll see. And then 1, which is IMVU, was the birthplace of the lean startup. So Steve Blank and Eric Ries, who are both very good friends and mentors to me, we were all together. I've been on the board for 11 years, so it's 3 lifetimes of Silicon Valley. But I'm quoted in the book, so I should know about the lean startup, right? So when I looked for 5 years for a solution to email overload, and then I had this brilliant idea: what if Siri was in your inbox and you could just express your intent? And then awesome things would happen. So how could I fail, right? Nice background, well prepared, and I did. And so part of this talk, when you have a failure in your life, and the company does still live on, but it's our one programmer who's managing it to profitability. As a venture deal, it has failed. When you write down all of your investment to 0, that's not a good thing. But you spend a lot of time with yourself. What went wrong? And I've kind of boiled it down to this one thing, which you'll be the first ones I'm sharing it with, so please give me feedback afterwards. To win, you have to have clarity of purpose. Purpose. The reason for which something is done or created. This has a purpose. when your toilet won't flush. This gets the job done, and it's an important job, and you go to the hardware store and you pay whatever they want for it. I don't know how many R&D dollars went into this, but it's a great invention. $1 billion. $1 billion got spent on Google Plus. And you think to yourself, well, if I want to share a picture, should I go to Google Plus? Well, none of my friends are there. If I want to communicate with someone I know, should I go to Google Plus? Well, I've got a phone, I've got their email address. Like, why would I do that? If I want to put up a web page, fairly templatized, I can't really customize it that much. So here's $1 billion that was spent by very smart people. Google is brilliant. Lots of smart people, but $1 billion got wasted. If you do not have a clear purpose, you will fail. So this has been a framework that has been formative to me, both in shaping my investments since I got back, but also in communicating with entrepreneurs. But the job to be done framework, I won't get into details because I only have a few minutes, but it's a very concise way to see where does your product enter the life of the consumer. How is it does it count? If I'm blocked in doing something and I employ technology to get it done for me, then it's meaningful. So it has a very prescriptive syntax. I'm in this situation and I want this and I have this outcome. So you can articulate the job to be done using this syntax. As an example, and I don't want to bore you with precise language, but it matters. Every single word matters. When I'm hungry for a home-cooked meal, it's the Dash and Uber Eats, they're not going to do a home-cooked meal. I want groceries in my fridge so I can fill my belly. All right, that's a job to be done, right? That's an important job. I'm hungry, and I will go to bed with a stomach ache if I don't get fed. Here's two companies, both going after that same job. So what was the difference? This one raised $830 million and lost it all. And the other one is, I think, at like 260 right now, but it's successful. I have friends there and the product's working. So these two companies have a different, what I'm calling a product purpose statement. This is the complement to the job to be done. This is what the product is shouting out to its customers. Its syntax: when this job arises, product name delivers this value for cost by unique approach. All right, and we'll share the slides, but I'll give some examples. So here's Webvan. When you need groceries, Webvan saves you a trip to the store via super fast online checkout and delivery to your door. Right? Like, sounds good. It's a good way to rally the company. It has a lot of ambiguity, and ambiguity is your enemy when you're trying to launch products. So speed, how fast does it have to be to my door? If it needs to be to my door within an hour, I need to hire a ton of people for peak times. They have to be ready in cars. I need a big fleet, right? Like, the implications of 1 hour delivery are monumental. What about selection? Do I need every SKU that I ever might want? Well, that means a huge warehouse. Cost. How much is it going to cost me? Webvan tried to offer price parity with the grocery stores so that people would adopt it. And then, margins in the grocery business are very thin. And so you have to have massive automation. They had all these robots, conveyor belts, all this stuff, and infrastructure, of course, built, huge warehouses. As opposed to, by contrast, another sentence. And notice these are like less than, 20, 25 words each. When you don't need groceries for a few hours, Instacart saves you a trip to the store for $5 via super fast online checkout and friendly folks who shop your favorite stores and deliver it to your door. So notice, like, no infrastructure, cost $5 to save me 45 minutes to the store. That's great. I'll do that. But, I'm not going to get it right away. So what are some of the elements of a good product purpose statement? And this list was long. I only had 15 minutes. But one is it's short. I think of the bar test is, I'm at a bar with Sophie Sherlot. I'm like, let me tell you about this company. I have to be able to say it fast because a lot of it, especially inside of a company where you're trying to deliver on this product, is what is the human mind capable of hearing, comprehending, internalizing, and then acting in alignment with throughout the day. So for Uber, which I can talk about all night. It's my favorite company. We did the B round. When you need to get someplace, Uber arrives at your doorstep in minutes, costs less than a taxi, and requires no tip through its super slick app and network of connected drivers. It's specific. When you need to communicate from your phone, does that sound specific? Who thinks that sounds specific? It's not specific. Bad statement. Here's two different companies, which are both worth billions of dollars because of a change of phrase, taking a very specific, a very general job to be done. I need to communicate from my phone, and making it more specific. When you want to tell your friend you are running late, WhatsApp lets you send a message without paying SMS fees using mobile data. $19 billion in market cap. Snapchat. When you want to share an experience you were having with a friend, Snapchat lets you send the moment in 3 taps. This one opens to a composition box where you have your keyboard up. This one opens to a camera. Totally different. I mean, we all have designed workflows and checkout flows. Like every extra step costs you 90% of your customer base. So these things matter. Snapchat, we'll see what happens with the IPO. It has to illuminate the user experience. So Google, when you need to find a web page, Google lets you type the first few letters, and I was going to use the example of finding a mojito recipe. I highly recommend cotton candy mojitos, my favorite. 3 letters. Within 3 keystrokes on my ASCII keyboard, I had the best mojito recipe on the internet as curated by internet scale link curation. As opposed to Yahoo, and we know what's happened to Yahoo, whose origins, and they learned far too late. When you need to find a web page, Yahoo gives you a human-curated portal, so you can click your way to a good recipe. It's not that good. So this was the big one for me. The PPS has to have, I'm calling it the Goldilocks scope. So Goldilocks, not too hot, not too cold. You want to scope the promise your product is making to be just right. Handles was too big. When you have more to do than time to do it, Handle gives you a single list to decide what to do next. Simple. It was not simple. These 3 companies, these 3 fine companies, well-run companies, unlike mine, Acompli was sold for $300 million. Wunderlist was sold for $200 million. Sunrise was sold for $100 million. Microsoft bought all 3 of them, $600 million of value, because they focused on, a specific subset of this. So the Goldilocks scope, if you have this mission that feels a little too broad, you can go through this process, I'm calling it value proposition factoring, but you can, like a big number breaks into primes, you can go through all of the subcomponents of this product purpose statement and break it into pieces, and then you want to carve out the smallest number of pieces that both have a growth engine and can be a habitual thing, like weekly, monthly, something like that. So again, I'm skipping over a lot of detail. So what's the benefits? If you go through this exercise, and I will challenge you all at the end to do so, you can assess customer demand. You can actually build Facebook ads on products that do not exist and run them and see the click-through rate off of this PPS. You can raise capital. You come in and say, Sean, I got this great idea. Here's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, I like it. Or I don't like it, but at least you can align yourself with investors, hire the right people. When people hear this, they either say, yeah, that's something I want to work on, or they say, it's not for me. And you don't have to hire everybody. You just need to hire the right people that align with your mission. Keeping the team aligned is super hard. And imagine this one sentence people can look at and either say, hey, what I worked on today is helping that or not. And I find like startup after startup where you ask the 2 co-founders, what's the purpose of the product? They'll give you 2 different answers. Well, imagine the other 50 people at your company now trying to spend their days moving towards that goal. You can make technical trade-offs, higher quality product because you're doing less and it's more focused. You get to market faster, you consume less capital, and ultimately you die less. 3 minutes. All right, it's almost done. Okay, here's my challenge. Go to 3 smart people at your company and give them the syntax and ask them to write it up for you and then compare. And hopefully some of you have the same, but my guess is many people will not. And I'm offering myself, Sean, at Menlo VC. This is early. I'm testing this with my own portfolio companies right now. And so far it's been working really well. But I welcome in the subject, if you send me an email with the subject PPS challenge, what I will do is pick a couple of these and then we'll collaborate together. We'll come up with like the before and after and write a blog post about it, because I think the details matter. Like literally, it's kind of like a poem. Every single word matters. And then the other one, this is like option A or B. B is a worthy purpose. And that just send me your product purpose statement that you want me to fund or us to fund, Janie here, Menlo Ventures. And, we're starting a EIR program next year with this. This is the main concept is not to just have people hang out and like look at cool stuff, but to build a product that will fulfill this worthy purpose statement. So I would love to hear it. Again.
Thank you, Sean. Here's a gift for you. All right. So what I love about this is Sean, obviously very humble but brilliant investor, right? The track record is undeniable. So you think about products that count as in they count with the numbers, right? And then we arrive at like a poem, which is the meaning. And I really love that. And then the next speaker is John, and John, very successful business person, but started an organization that's all about meaning, right? All about providing drinkable water to people. And then I'll let you, I won't steal your thunder, but we'll have a little surprise about what you, about what happens, right? Welcome, John.
Thanks. Wow, there's more people than I thought. You know, I had my back turned to everybody. Hi, Che. How are you? Thank you very much. My name's John Kaufman. I own a marketing company in the Silicon Valley, but I'm a serial entrepreneur with social entrepreneurialism. And I joined Rotary about 5 years ago, and I wanted to do something about specifically water, but a little bit more than water. So this funny name, H2 Open Doors, H2O meaning we want to provide water technology to developing countries, to villages, schools, and hospitals. And we want that water technology to be robust enough that it can create enough water that that village, that school, that hospital could actually go in the business of selling the water. Water's become this incredible commodity. A lot of us are, when I bring students on some of our expeditions to these countries, and we've been to the Philippines, to Haiti, to Thailand, Mexico, Guatemala, Nepal. When we bring students, they're shocked that you can't just walk up to any random faucet or hose and drink from it. They just don't understand why that's possible. We're the only country in the world that has what's called the Clean Water Act. That crazy, crook, vicious, horrible President Nixon signed the Clean Water Act, which mandates that we all have safe drinking water at the tap, except for Flint. Flint, forget about Flint. Yeah, that doesn't count. But we're very, 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 very fortunate to have this. And in most countries, well, in all countries, there isn't that mandate. Got to go this way. So let's talk a little bit about the fallacy of numbers, or the hard things about numbers. Like if I stand up here and I just tell you, you know, this number of millions or this number of hundreds of thousands of people are dying every day or have waterborne disease, that kind of thing. The numbers are so big that they start to not mean anything. So what I like to do is talk about it in this way. Imagine if 11 jumbo jets today crashed to the earth filled with 5-year-olds or younger. And imagine if that happened yesterday and the day before, and it will happen again tomorrow and the next day. The world would stop on its axis. We would try to solve this problem, right? There are 2,200 people under the age of 5 that perish every day because of waterborne disease. This is the figures, which is an improvement. The Millennium Goals in 2000 it was about 4,500 children under the age of 5 would die every day of diarrheal disease and that sort of thing from waterborne disease. That's been cut in half in the last 15 years. Fantastic. All of that improvement in all the different metrics for the Millennium Goals happened in the urban centers. There's been no improvement. Actually, it's sliding backwards in the rural areas. So it's the rural poor that we want to focus on. They're left without any recourse, no support from the government, and so on. So imagine if that happened. Now I showed this slide to a little Rotary Club in Fremont once, and I want to applaud you right now because one guy raises his hand, he interrupts. This is why questions should be afterwards, right? He says, I want to question your whole premise, John. First of all, there's just no way that a jumbo jet can be filled with children under the age of 5. So it was quiet, quieter than this. Some people are chuckling. It was like crickets. You could hear crickets. And then one lady says, Bob, you're a moron. It's a metaphor. And then somebody else says, no, you idiot. It's a simile. And then everybody starts arguing. Okay, so it's an analogy. So thank you for accepting that this is an analogy. I appreciate it. Give yourselves a hand for that because. So the rural poor pay a third of their daily income on what ought to be a human right. And in Mexico, for instance, Guatemala the same, Honduras the same, 4 companies control 80% of the bottled water market. Coca-Cola is one of them. They make more money, more profit on selling water. In the U.S., it's Dasani. In Mexico, it's CL. They've got 50 different brands of water. They make more money on water than they do on Coca-Cola. So they're filling a gap. The good thing is these companies, and these 4 companies in particular are Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, Nestle, and Danone. They have 80% of the market. So what H2 Open Doors is about is what's wrong with this picture. The rural poor have no other choice but to buy bottled water if they want to live, if they don't want to go to the hospital. They can't turn on the tap. They can't, in most places, boil water anymore. Who's going to do that? So they buy bottled water. And to the credit of these multinational companies, water is within their reach. It's just not within their wallet's reach. They can't afford it. Literally a third of their income goes to buy bottled water. So the proposition was, can we find some technology that we can put in place in these villages, these schools, these hospitals that will create, from whatever contaminated source it is, enough water that they could sell the water and create a little economy. And all the profits of that little economy go back to the social services of that very community. My favorite installation is places like schools, where we can guarantee that the kids are getting fresh, clean water every day, and then the parents can come in and distribute water as a fundraiser for the school, and the profits go to college scholarships, nutritional programs, and so on. So it's a little bit more than a water project, and I do this in the context of Rotary because Rotary's got 35,000 clubs all around the world. So wherever we'd want to go, there's a Rotary club there that's going to look after it while I'm there. So this is a project. It's not a separate 501c3. It's a project within Rotary, and that's why I get scale out of it. This has been the answer for most people to solve the water problem. And this is the most disgusting picture I can imagine. But people applaud themselves for these things called life straws. Would you want your grandmother to get their water this way? I wouldn't. This is what I want to see. I want to see 5-gallon family bottle. I don't want to see single-use bottles. Bad. If you've got a single-use bottles, you're bad. You're evil. Try to get refillable bottles. Try to do it. These are family-size 5-gallon bottles. And this is the product. So the product is called the Sunspring Hybrid. It took me a year to vet this product, to find this one in Colorado. It does 20,000 liters, or about 5,000 gallons a day from any source. It's a 5-stage system. It uses no electricity or fuel because it's solar and wind powered. No chemical treatment, so it's not relying on chlorine. It's membrane technology, meaning that the 5th stage in the system is membrane, similar to what's in the Palo Alto municipal system, the San Francisco municipal system. It's picture spaghetti. strings of spaghetti, and there's 7 miles of spaghetti in this system, and it's hollow all the way through, but along the sides are 1 billion holes, and these holes are 20 nanometers. And so viruses and bacteria and cysts are as the water's pushed through the membranes, the bad stuff's collected on the outside. There's a little computer in there that automatically backflushes between 1 and 24 times a day out the back. As soon as the bad stuff is exposed to the air, that dies out, and only the pure water comes out. So instead of killing bacteria and drinking a glass of dead bacteria, you're removing the bacteria, you're removing the viruses, that sort of thing. It's simple maintenance. It only takes about 90 minutes to maintain it once a month, and we teach the villages as we install it. The barefoot engineers, sometimes we call them. And it's ideal for 1,000 to 10,000 people. Its capacity, if you think about it, can give a half a gallon of water, which is what we should be drinking every day, half a gallon of water. Sophie Charlotte less, but somebody like me or bigger, have to drink, half a gallon of water every day. It'll provide 10,000 people with that. Each installation gives 10,000 people a half a gallon of water. And it's manufactured in Colorado. And it carries the WQA Gold Seal, which means that that whatever's coming out of the faucet or the pipe or whatever's filling the tanks or however we install it is to the quality of the U.S. EPA water. So it's just like at your tap at home, not in Flint, but here. AT&T gave us a grant. Now, what's interesting is when you have a product that you believe in, there's a lot of different ways that you can think about in applying it. So I kind of go backwards. A lot of people will go to a village, fall in love with a village, and then be all things for the village. I'm going to get you clothes, and then I'm going to get school supplies. No. I found a product that counts, and I want to figure out how to apply it. So I put it into 18 different villages in 8 different countries in the last 4 years. And AT&T is one of our customers at our marketing company. And they were going into the Mexico market for the first time. They bought 2 different telecommunication companies there. So they wanted, so they came to me because they knew the marketing director had known that I have this passion play, H2 Open Doors, and they said, well, what can we do? So we said, well, let's figure out a way to get people excited about water. So what they did was in the Latino market, they had a Facebook game. It was a dirty glass of water, and when you shake your phone, the water starts to clear up, and then you have to shake it more, and it clears up, and it says, help us bring safe water to Mexico, right? And for every time that somebody shared that Facebook posting, $1 came to H2 Open Doors. So $50,000 later, we were able to put in 2 water treatment plants in Mexico. It's not a lot of money considering, what it can do. But this is this was kind of my happiest day. It was the marriage of my day job with my other job. And this is what these plants look like. We've put in 3 of these so far in Mexico, and we're continuing to put these in different locations. But it's taking municipal water, which is completely polluted, bringing it into a tank. We process it through the system, which has its own pump. This is the SunSpring. It processes it, and then the pure water goes into this tank and then out to the front of the house where it's being put into these 5-gallon jugs. And there's trucks. The plants are big enough that trucks can pull in and fill up. The idea here is that we want to have the water sold for half the cost of the going rate. So if you were to go to an OXXO or a 7-Eleven or whatever in those countries, this water would be sold for half the amount. But then there's a label on each one of the bottles that says 100% of the net profits go back to your community. So they'll go back to the schools, they'll go back to the poor. So the idea here now is instead of the big 4, we want a big 5. We want the poor to be part of this operation, part of this way to profit. And the way that the poor will profit is by the profits of this coming back to save their crumbling social services. In Nepal, we're going to Nepal in February. By the way, when we take these expeditions, we love people to come along. I've got a few friends here that have been to Mexico and Thailand, and we love doing this. In February, we're going to Nepal. There's a 6-story hospital that's being built in Kathmandu. This is one of the poorest cities in all of Asia. There's about 3 million people that live there. This hospital, We're going to put a SunSpring, one of these systems, on the roof. We're going to pump with a solar pump the water feed from the city up to the roof. We've got 6 tanks on the roof, and then each tank will feed another floor. This will be the only hospital in all of Nepal that you can turn on any faucet and get water like we have here in the U.S. So that's the kinds of things that you can do. Thank you. And so come with us. This will be a fun trip to do. In April, we're doing Cuba. We were in, I have a couple friends here that were in Cuba with us. Where's Russ and Kate? Oh, Russ and Kate back there. We went to Cuba. We brought 40 people to Cuba last April. We sussed out a village that needs some water. That pipe's being put in. And then this next April, we're going to go and put in that installation for about 1,500 people. And the thing about Cuba is they're so hungry for what we can offer. And the thing that I've realized, and it's, it's just true, and it's what you all represent to me. And that is that we can solve any in the world with a little technology and a whole lot of soul. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, John, thank you. So you also get a copy of my book. And please stay here. Because, so I mentioned earlier that the profits of my book are all going to charity. And then I sampled some of our members and I asked, what's the product that counts the most? And water came up, and then I thought of John's organization. And so tonight I'm giving away all the profits of, my book to H2 Open Doors. And so they make these.
Oh my God.
So thank you, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, put it in your wallet. Thank you for what you do. Okay, so we go to the next. Okay. What we're going to do next is we're going to do shout outs. So for those of you who have been here, you know what they are. If you have something you want to share with everyone, whether you're looking for a job, you're looking for funding, you're starting a new company, you're looking for users, you're hiring, please come to the side here. And you have 10 seconds to pitch your project or your idea. So please start lining up and go right here so that it's easy transition. While everybody's gathering, I want to tell you about our talk next month, which will be in 2017. January 25th, Wednesday, January 25th, I'm hosting another venture capitalist, another very successful investor with his time and with his money, Bruce Cleveland, who was a very early product leader at Oracle, then went on to be a founding executive at Siebel Systems, and then was a lead investor in Marketo. So clearly somebody who knows how to pick amazing companies. And he's going to talk about how you close the traction gap, how you get real traction, and how you go from there to reach your goals. So I'm looking forward to this. That talk, by the way, next year will be after I get married. My fiancé is over there. He's hiding somewhere in the back. All right, let's do the shout outs.
Thanks, Essie. So, hi, my name is Human Hujjat. This organization has been great in supporting me as I was looking for my job. I recently joined a company called Credo Mobile as a director of product management, and this time I am hiring. So if you're a senior product manager with e-commerce background, please see me. I'd love to talk about Credo Mobile and see if it's the right fit for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Du. I'm CEO of Bullseye.com. We make this product on the back of my phone called a Mono, and basically I am removing the fear of using your mobile device. I want you to imagine how many times you've dropped your phone, how many times you wish it were a stand so you could watch things, how many times you wanted to flip it over so you could open a door or text somebody, how many times your phone causes you pain and suffering. Now, imagine it as you go out of here tonight. I'm offering our last holiday sale, which is actually 20% off and free shipping. We are on Amazon, and we are also on our own site. This is off our own site. And it's holiday 2016. Go to bullseye.com, bulz-i.com. Thanks so much.
Hi, good evening. Good Good evening. My name is Laura Moon. I'm a vice president at Glassdoor. I think Glassdoor is a product that counts because it helps people find a job and company that they love. I'll ask you if that's specific enough later, Sean. But we are hiring product managers. So product managers for job search, our ad tech platform, as well as our user generated content platform. So, it's a great company. I love it. And, I know you guys will too.
Good evening. My name is Baiche Buxton. I do own a company. It's Aerial Imagery. I do aerial photogrammetry and aerial photography, but I'm here to ask for donations. We are trying to raise money to take students through a nonprofit that I've started called AI Studios. You can go to AIstudios360.org or H2Oopensdoors.org, and you can contribute and help us bring students to our next trip in Cuba in April. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, I won't take any more of your time because, the photo booth that I had promised to everyone, which wasn't working at the beginning, is now working. So go enjoy, take some funny pictures and have some beer, and happy holidays, everybody.